All right, hello again. We are doing more stuff with polynomials here in this K unit. We're looking at K5 and K8, and we are going to use synthetic division, that is that little box thing that we've done before, to divide polynomials. And we also want to be able to find the roots of factored polynomials. So these are things that are already factored in bubble form, real easy. To find the roots. That really just means solve for x. So super easy here. And again, you want to try to get as high a score as you can. If you have like an 89 in the class and you're trying to get the A, then all of your skills, these K-level skills, K1, K2, K3, K5, and K8, you want to get above your percentage. So if you have an 89, try to get a 91 on all of these at least, and that's going to improve your grade the fastest. So if you have a 79, just make sure that all of your skills are higher than a 79. The higher they are, the faster your grade will come up. So if all of these are 100, your grade is going to improve significantly. If you have a 79% and you get 80s on all of these skills, then your grade is going to come up a little bit. It's not going to come up quite as significantly. Okay, so you guys are striving for the highest scores you can to improve your grade the fastest. All right, so synthetic division, example 1. Remember, you will need to show work. So have paper out. If you want to use a little whiteboard, use a whiteboard. That's great. But you will need paper. You will need to show your work and take your time. Don't rush through this stuff. Don't think you can do it in your head. You have to show work. We're going to use synthetic division to write the polynomial in quotient plus remainder over divisor form. And so here we are dividing two polynomials. We have x squared plus 7x minus 32 divided by x minus 3. And when we have synthetic division, whatever we're dividing by, this is the divisor, the thing that is doing the dividing. And this divisor always needs to be x to the first. We can't divide when it's x squared or x cubed. And if it asks you to divide by 2x minus 2, then that wouldn't be possible either. You actually would have to divide up every single term through by 2 first. So it has to be like a 1x to the first power. Maybe you can divide every term by 2, and that would make numbers smaller. So I did see one problem like that as students were working. So pay attention. You might need to divide through to reduce every single term. That's a great thing to do first. But as long as this is x to the first, then we can do synthetic division. And what we need to do is figure out what number to use. And to do that, we really just need to solve for x. So I'm going to take the divisor, set it equal to 0, and then isolate x. To get x by itself, I need to add 3. So I get x equals 3. And this is the number that we use in our little division box here. So that 3 goes on the outside. You can see that it's the opposite of what our divisor was. And along the top, we just take all the coefficients. So I have a 1x squared, a 7x, and a negative 32. And that's what we put along the top of our box. 1x squared, 7x, and negative 32. Make sure that all your powers are counting down. X squared, x to the first, this is x to the 0. You have to have all of those terms filled in. If you skip, like this one, x to the 4th going to x squared, that's skipping a power. You need to fill it in with a placeholder of 0. So watch out for skipping things. Once you have all your coefficients, then we can do our little add and multiply pattern here. So we basically bring down the first term. Really, we're adding nothing to it. So 1 plus 0 is 1. And then we multiply. 1 times 3 is 3. And then we combine. 7 and 3 makes 10. And we multiply. 10 and 3 makes 32. I'm sorry, it makes 30, not 32. And then we combine. Negative 32 plus 30 gives us a -2. This last number is always the remainder. That's the R. And what happens with our x variable here, we started at x squared. We're dividing out an x. We're dividing by x. And so we're taking out one of these x's and it powers down. It's now x to the first. And this is x to the 0. So if I wanted to write, here is my quotient, my remainder, and d of x is my divisor, which was up here. So my quotient is 1x to the first, which is just 1x, plus 10x to the 0, which would be just 10. And then we can write plus a remainder over our divisor of x minus 3. And that's a great answer. An equivalent answer would be x plus 10 minus 2 over x minus 3. And either of these answers is acceptable in IXL, so I would probably just use this one. Okay, over here, same idea. We are dividing by x minus 2. So this is our divisor. And again, to figure out what number goes on the outside, it's the opposite, or just taking x minus 2, setting it equal to 0, and isolating x. So we get x equals 2, and that's the number we use on the outside of our little box here. Then we want all of our coefficients, but we have some missing terms here, so we have to fill things in. And so I have a 1x to the 5th. I have a negative 11x to the 4th. I have a 0x cubed because I'm missing that term. Then I have a 32x squared. I have a 0x to the 1st. And this is 26x to the 0 power. So you want to make sure that everything counts down. Remember, x to the 0, any number to power 0 is really just 1. So it's 26 times 1, which is just 26. So all of our constants are these x to the 0s. And our numbers, our coefficients should go all the way down to that x to the 0 term in order for synthetic division to work properly. So again, make sure you fill in these placeholders if your powers skip. All right. Now we can do our add and multiply power, or add and multiply pattern. Sorry. 1 plus 0 is 1. Now we multiply. 1 times 2 is 2. Then we combine. Negative 11 plus 2 is negative 9. And we multiply. Negative 9 times 2 is negative 18. Combine. 0 plus negative 18 is negative 18. Multiply. Negative 18 times 2, negative 36. Combine. Negative 36 plus 32 is a negative 4. Multiply. Negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Combine. 0 plus negative 8 is negative 8. Multiply. Negative 8 times 2 is negative 16. And combine 26 and negative 16, or 26 minus 16 is 10. And that always, 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 that last thing is our remainder. Here is our quotient. And we want to write it quotient in terms of x. So these are just numbers. We need to put those x's back on. We started with x to the 5th. We divided out an x, which means it reduces get by 1. So it becomes 1x to the 4th minus 9x cubed minus 18x squared minus 4x minus 8. So there's our quotient, plus our remainder of 10 over our divisor. The divisor was x minus 2. And so this is what I would type in. Please be careful. Don't forget your x's. Take your time writing to make sure you did it exactly correctly. All right, that is synthetic division. Remember, fill in any missing terms with zeros. You have to have them. And then example 2. find the roots or zeros. Those are two words that mean the same thing of the factored polynomial. List solutions separated by commas. So here they gave us a function and they would say find the zeros. Well, to find the zeros, that's when the whole thing is equal to 0. Mathematically, this is the zero product property, and all we have to do is set each bubble equal to 0. When you set each bubble equal to 0, that's going to give you the zeros. Well, that's really easy to solve for x then. We just have to add 4, which you guys know, and it goes really, really easy. X equals 5 here. Here we would have to subtract 4. So x equals negative 4. So I would say x equals 4, 5, comma, negative 4. So separated by commas, this is what you'd input in your answer field in IXL. Pretty easy. Here they just give us this factored polynomial, and if you remember what this means, a power says repeat the base 3 times. So really this means x minus 1 times x minus 1 times x minus 1. It's really important that you remember that. And then to find, they would say, what are the roots of this polynomial? Well, the roots means the same thing. If you just set each bubble equal to 0. Well, I don't know if I want to do that. 3 separate times is totally redundant. So we don't need to worry about when we have duplicate answers. So 1 is enough. So I'm going to go ahead and just solve this 1 root. And that's the answer. We get 1 for our root. It's being repeated 3 times, but we only need to write it once. Once is enough. So don't worry about repeated solutions. Just the one answer is all we need. And that's it. So pretty easy stuff here, ladies and gentlemen. Again, try and get as high as you can for your scores. And you have until the 21st. I'm going to print stuff out very, very early on 22nd and input those scores into Synergy, your Student View gradebook. And you'll see how it affects your grade. Okay, so get as high as you can for those scores. Don't lose your mind, but just do better than your percentage and your grade will go up. All right, folks, have a great day.